I'm Sarah Scandred, and I'm head of admissions at St. Mildred's Lightbourn School. And I'm joined this morning by some of my colleagues from the school, as well as 3 panelists from whom you will hear shortly. Our Kids, the organization, has provided us with some questions to ask of the panelists to help you learn a little bit more about SMLS. And if time allows, I will ask a few additional questions, and we will be sure to give some time at the end for questions from you. If you do have questions as we move through this morning's roundtable, please feel free to enter them in the chat section. And as I said, we will be answering those questions at the end. So let me first introduce our 3 panelists, and I will ask them briefly just to speak, to introduce themselves and indicate their connections to SMLS. First, we have Leah Kamanga. She is a recent graduate, and Leah, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, thank you. So my name is Leah. I graduated in 2019, and now I go to Barnard College of Columbia University in New York, and I'm studying economics and sustainable development.
Thanks, Leah. Next, we have another Leah, Leah Coutinho-Maurer. And as St. Mildred's has a 127-year history, I'm going to say that Leah is also a recent graduate. She's also a current parent. And Leah, do you have a few words or details you'd like to add?
Sure. So like you said, Sarah, Leah Coutinho-Maurer graduated in 2000, so not as recent as the other Leah on this call. I attended St. Mildred's for my last 3 years of high school, and then I've been very involved with the Alumni Association for the last 16 years. And as of this September, I'm now a parent as well. So have a strong connection to the school, and happy to be here today.
Thank you. And just to make it clear, to attend SMLS, your name does not have to be Leah. And our next panelist is Jennifer Diamond, a current parent, and she has 2 daughters that are progressing through the school whose names, as I say, are not Leah. Jennifer, did you want to add anything?
Sure. So as Sarah said, my name is Jennifer Diamond, and I'm a current parent of 2 girls, one who is in the senior school in grade 9, Taylor, and my second daughter is in middle school and she's in grade 6. And both of my girls have been at the school for about 9 years now.
Thank you. So as I mentioned, we have a series of questions that I will pose to the panelists. These are questions that have been provided to us by our kids. So I'm guessing that if anyone has already attended a roundtable for another school, or if you are planning to attend roundtables in the coming weeks, these questions may become somewhat familiar. But our first question, I'll start with those that are alumna. So maybe for Leah 1, what did you appreciate most about the school during your time here? And how has your perspective on that changed since you've had some distance from the school?
Sure. So like I said, I joined for my last 3 years of high school. So I came to the school at the age of 16. And I think what I appreciated most at the time was the size of the school. It was amazing to go from a class of 300 at my previous high school to a class of 30. And the attention you get from that, and the number of activities that you can become involved in, it really helped me blossom as a young adult. And the access to co-curricular activities, it really pushed me beyond the world that I lived in previous to St. Mildred's. Now that it's so many years past, I look back and I think what that really meant was that I gained a lot of confidence, and the confidence to try new things, to have leadership opportunities. And I think the school just helped drive that in me, and that's been something that I've continued to benefit from as I've left St. Mildred's.
Thank you. Leah, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, for sure. I was really going to say a lot of what Leah said, so we're definitely on the same wavelength. But definitely, I think the small class sizes really, really helped me. I think, even going into university, a lot of my friends are afraid to go to office hours or to raise their hand. And I think SMLS really provided us with the as Leah said, the confidence we needed to be able to know that even if we don't have the right answer, it's okay. And to really go talk to our professors and understand that they're there to help us. So I think that that was really great. And then also just the foundations, because we were able to have such small classes, our teachers were really able to interact with us one-on-one. And so I never felt like there was a topic that I didn't fully understand or was skipped over because the class was moving forward. So just looking back, I'm really glad that those, especially like math and science foundations, I was really able to hone in and understand, because it's really helped with the university pace.
Thank you. Now I'll ask you to answer this next question. And you've spoken to a little bit of it in your response just now, but what do you think most differentiates SMLS from other schools?
Yeah, so I was thinking about this, and one thing I thought that was like very unique is how, I mean, obviously we have a lot of signature programs, especially our global studies program, but what I thought was very unique to SMLS is how they're able to connect the classroom and the outdoor experiences. And so I think when we went on our grade 10 block, there was a Bahamas trip, and that was more biology oriented. And so the biology teacher actually went on that trip, and she was able to first teach the girls what to kind of expect. And so then when we're going into the place, we're able to have a better understanding and I think more respect for the country, and then also be able to connect what we're learning in the classroom to what we're doing outside. And for me, I really enjoyed that because I found it more interesting to have a real world experience to keep in the back of my mind while I was doing my classroom work. So I really think that that's what makes it different, is we're able to connect classroom work to, you know, life experiences.
Neat. Leah, what about you? Did you have any other pieces to add to that?
So I think the school has grown tremendously over the last 20 years. And I think that the global studies and extra beyond the classroom learning has flourished. And I think it's a fantastic piece that really does differentiate SMLS. I think just down to the roots that it's all girls education. I think that that's huge. The empowerment that women get from that is outstanding. And I think the other piece that I've experienced now being so far out is the strong alumni network, that with 127 years of alumni, you have a lot of women to lean upon for mentorship, for potential opportunities, for networking. And so I think that that's a big part of what makes SMLS great.
Okay. And is there anything that you would change about the school, you know, to make it an even better place if you had an opportunity to change something?
I don't think I'd change very much. I think it's pretty fantastic the way it is. I love how nurturing it is and how many opportunities it gives to the girls, the confidence it builds. But I think to that alumni point, I think they could leverage the alumni a little bit more to gain a few more opportunities for the current girls. Like there's a lot of stuff that happens between alumni, but I know the school's working hard to continue to grow that program of bringing alumni in so they could actually, the girls can see all the things they can do.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think they could continue to kind of hone in on that piece, because it's just there for the like, it's like easy pickings.
Right. For those mentorship opportunities, as you say,
Absolutely.
for the younger students, the guidance.
Yeah.
Leah, what about you? Would you have changed anything?
Yeah, so just like Leah said, I think SMLS is such a great school, and I wouldn't want to change anything. But if I had to, I think I was actually running this by a couple of my other friends from SMLS just to get their input, and we were saying we have a really good social relationship with our brother school, but one thing we were thinking was maybe like a lecture together or some academic aspect, just because, you know, I think SMLS gave me the opportunity to not be afraid to, you know, raise my hand or ask questions, but I wasn't prepared for, like, not to stereotype men, but just talking over me or just ignoring what I was saying. So of course, in a single sex environment, you wouldn't have that. And not that our brother schools would ever talk over us, but more of an academic relationship, just in addition to the social.
Great, thank you. Now here's a question for you. If the school were to be represented as a single person, What would its personality be like in only 3 words?
I
I
would
have trouble
say,
answering this one.
I know it was hard. I think confidence, accepting, and supportive. I think, SMOS is a very confident person, or school, they are not afraid, are always trying new things. And even when they mess up, that's okay. Accepting. There's so many different girls who are coming to SMLS with different personalities and characteristics. And I think SMLS really just folds them in, and they, at the end of the day, we're all Millies, which I think is great. And then supportive, I think, when a girl falls or messes up, I think the whole community's there to help her, and to support her and know that she's, included and respected.
Thank you. Leah, I'm intrigued to hear how you've described SMLS.
Very similar. So I think SMLS has a good defined personality, because the 3 words I chose were confident, kind, and smart, which I think echo a lot of what Leah just said. So I said confident because of the empowerment of girls to be leaders, to build their self-worth, their self-esteem, their self-confidence. Kindness, I really feel like seeing it in Lily already, and she's only been there a month, just the empathy towards peers, teachers, their community as a whole. I think that's really continuously reflective in the girls and the students, the alumni, the parents, the staff, everybody reflects the same type of values. And smart for sure, because I think there's a great standard of academic excellence that comes out of the school as well, and prepares the girls for the post-secondary world.
Thank you. I think it's so neat that you were so aligned on that. And what do you think families would find most surprising about the school?
I think how down to earth the school is. Sometimes I think there's this expectation that private or independent schools are very stuffy or very pretentious, but my experience, and like I said, Lily's experience thus far, has been a very welcoming atmosphere, a very comfortable, nurturing environment. Nurturing is a word I think that I often use when I describe the school. No matter how big the school has grown in its technology and its facilities, in growth of programs, there is still this feeling of home when you enter. So I think that can be surprising to many, given how fantastic the school is on so many levels, that you still get that feeling of nurturing.
Yeah. It's interesting, in my years at the school, I have found in talking with families that you're right, that is one of the things that they've been surprised by, and particularly when they come in for a tour and are expecting one thing and then just say, the warmth that they feel. And so it's really a challenge this year, because of course we can't have families in the school. So we're trying to find ways to make sure that piece comes across, but I appreciate you sharing that. Leah, what about you? What do you think families might find surprising about SMLS?
So what I thought they would find surprising is, when I kind of think of, private schools or independent schools, I think of a lot of separation between the different sections, like lower school and upper school. But what I found, I was at SMLS since junior kindergarten, so a really long time. And all through, I found that there's a really good and big emphasis on making sure that all the girls know each other and that there's activities for them. So we have big sister, little sister, where a senior school or upper school girl gets paired with a junior school girl. And I think going from both sides of that, as a junior school girl, I was so afraid of the older girls. But just seeing my big sister and being able to ask her questions about the senior school, I thought was fantastic. And then they make them less scary. And then as a senior school girl, I was able to, get to know the younger girls, visit some old classrooms. So I really think what is special is that there's so much mixing between the grades.
Yeah, it is certainly a lovely aspect. And what about, you graduated just 2 years ago. What advice would you give to students who are just starting at the school?
Yeah, sorry, there's just some drilling going on, so
Oh
I'm
no.
muting myself. I would say just don't be afraid and don't worry about making friends. I think those are two of the really big things that I've heard from girls. I think going into SMLS, because it is such a small school and such a close-knit community, it can be scary to go into a place where a lot of the girls already know each other. But I think, as we described, SMLS is such an accepting place, and you really just get folded into the community so quickly, and no one even remembers you're new by like the third week, which I think is fantastic. And then just like trying something new, and I think a lot of girls stop themselves because, you know, it's like, okay, if I don't make the team, other girls won't like me. But honestly, at the end of the day, you make the team or you don't, but chances are you'll gain a new skill or you'll meet someone who has the same, you know, passions as you. So I'd really say just put yourself out there.
Yes. What about Leah, from your perspective? Is there any advice? And you've had a daughter to start, and you probably had lots of advice that you shared at home.
So I think exactly what Leah said, don't be afraid. I think there's just so much opportunity and the school is so welcoming. I think Lily had slight reservations starting a new school in September. But within the day she came home and she's like, I've already made 3 friends and I love my teacher. And it's exactly the same feeling I had. And I started 2 months into grade 11, which was very difficult mentally. But honestly, within a week, I just felt like the school just embraces you. You have no choice but to become part of it. And so definitely just that fear it's not necessary. It's such a great school to be a part of. And there's, if you allow yourself, there's so much opportunity to take from it. So many leadership opportunities, so many co-curricular activities. Obviously they're muted a little bit right now given COVID, but you know, that's temporary, and just, you know, enjoy everything that the school has to offer.
Yeah. Thank you both for your perspective as alumni of the school. We'll move on now to some questions that are more about kind of the parent experience. So Leah, one, you can, we'll continue to engage you.
If everybody's not tired of hearing from me.
No. But I'll start with Jennifer. Maybe I'll pose this question to her. Why did you choose the school SMLS originally, and in what ways has SMLS been what you expected, and in what ways has it not?
Well, originally we chose St. Mildred's for a few reasons, actually. Firstly, we had friends whose children attended St. Mildred's and spoke really highly of it. We also liked the idea of single gender learning. Mainly when we toured SMLS, it stood out to us. We liked what we heard from the students that we bumped into in the hall. They were so poised and confident when they stopped to speak to us. And everything the school spoke to us about, you know, in terms of understanding how girls learn really resonated with us. In terms of what I expected, I would say I expected that the school would deliver a high level of academics, and I've been happy to find this to be true. I also assumed that they would integrate technology into the learning, and I was really happy to see that they have done a really impressive job of combining both traditional learning with innovative technology skills. I was concerned that the school wouldn't be multiculturally diverse and that all the students would be from an affluent background, but I've been really glad to see that neither has been the case. It is very multicultural, and there are families there from every socioeconomic background. And lastly, I didn't think there would be any involvement with male students, but have been very pleased to see that they do have many opportunities to have exposure to boys from other schools, but in a productive way, like with extracurriculars or global studies travel and so on. So that's pretty much it.
Great. And Leah, as an alum, your selection of SMLS for your daughter might have been a little bit different, but can you share your thinking or your decisions?
For sure. It definitely helped. It was definitely a bias in my decision when we started looking at schools, that I have always in the back of my head thought that I would love Lily to go to St. Mildred's at some point. And that is reflective of my experience, obviously. But I do believe in all girls education. I think that there's huge opportunity there, if I haven't already made that clear. And I think what made us choose it recently was just that we found that we were feeling a lot of uncertainty with the public/Catholic school system, and that we weren't sure that our daughter's academic needs were being met in the public Catholic school system. So that was a huge draw for St. Mildred's, knowing that their academics are really strong. Oakville, I think just that, you know, it's close to home, and I think it being the only all-girls school in Oakville was a strong choice for us. And then I have a son, and he goes to Lynbrook across the street, and so that also made the decision, you know, a little bit easier as well, to be able to put them both in excellent schools across the street from each other.
Yeah. Great. And what does Lily have to say about the school now? She's a couple weeks in.
Only fantastic things. She is loving the program so far. She's loving the food. She's loving the teachers, the technology. You know, I think she's missing right at this very moment in time the co-curriculars. But, you know, that's to be understood with any school right now. But I think the school is doing an amazing job navigating these very uncertain times, giving the girls a full academic and social experience in a very safe way. And it's really fulfilled all my fears of what school will be given these circumstances right now. So yeah, Lily's saying only great things so far.
Great. And Jennifer, what about your daughters? They've navigated changes from, you know, through junior school to middle school, and now your eldest in senior school. But what do they have to say about SMLS?
So they both say that they feel like St. Mildred's is their second home. They really feel like the teachers care about inspiring the girls, and that because it's smaller classroom sizes, they really feel like the teachers know them really well. They, you know, think it's definitely hard work, but they love how St. Mildred's makes it a fun thing to learn. And they're really excited about all the opportunities that St. Mildred's has both now, and they're also looking to the future and all the opportunities that they're excited about that are going to come, like in high school. You know, my eldest daughter is really looking forward to doing an internship and being possibly a school prefect. So they're both just very excited with all the opportunities that they can currently be involved with, and looking to the future, what they'll be able to do in the future. So they just love St. Mildred's.
Great. And similar question, we've asked it of Leah and Leah, but if you were to represent SMLS as a person, what would its personality be like in just a few words?
Sorry, Sarah, were you asking me? It's just,
yeah.
Froze.
Sorry about that. Yeah, if you were to represent.
Okay. Sorry, are you asking me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you were.
Sorry. A bit of a glitch here on my computer. So if I think the question was if I were to describe St. Mildred's as a person.
Yes.
Hello. Oh, hi. Sorry. So I would say I would describe her as inspirational, exuberant, and enlightened. Inspirational, I would say, because I feel these students are being taught to put their all into everything. They're so aware of what it means to be kind. And my girls and the other girls that I know at the school really do inspire me to be a better person. with their exceptional work ethic, I know that these girls will do amazing things. I use the word exuberance because I watch my girls enter the school on a daily basis with enthusiasm and energy. They're just always excited about something, whether it's going in and presenting a school project that they're going to share with the class and parents, or they're leading a school chapel. There's just always something interesting that seems to be happening at St. Mildred's. And then the last thing I said was enlightened. And I say that because I find that the girls are really made to be aware of what's going on in the world around them. They've been educated on relevant global issues, and I just think with their sharp minds and their really, truly empathetic hearts that they're being molded into the type of person who will actually truly make a difference.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is, really, truly.
Yeah. Maybe I'll ask Leah this question. How would you describe the values of the school and the values of the family in the school, families in the school community?
So I picked a few words when I thought of values of St. Mildred's, and inclusivity was the first one that really came to mind. Strength, positivity, kindness, and adaptivity. I think the school continues to innovate and adapt given any circumstances. They're always forward thinking. They have developed, I think, to Jennifer's points, these amazing inspirational girls, and those girls show strength and positivity and kindness in everything that they do. So I think those are reflected, I think, not only in the students, but the staff and the parents as well, because you can't help but just get sucked in to those values, right? And I don't think you are a right fit if you don't model those values as well.
Wonderful. Yeah. Jennifer, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, I do. I agree. I think values are a huge theme at St. Mildred's, and I've always been so impressed with the way that they incorporate, sorry, I'm glitching here again, their core values into the kids' day-to-day life. And I see the value system being implemented at the school is really aligned with the value systems of the families at the school I've come to know. I'll list 5 that I thought of, one being integrity, respect, innovation, compassion, and courage. Integrity, I think the expectations of the school are that the girls live with honesty and they show responsibilities for themselves, both inside the school and out in the community. Respect is a second one, and I think there are daily discussions at the school of respecting those around you. And I actually also see the respect represented in the diversity of the school community and how the school teaches and honors those multitude of cultures. They incorporate it into lessons, and they also host special celebrations. So I love that. Innovation is the third thing I was thinking about, and I see it very present at the school. They're constantly incorporating new ideas and practices around the world. And I know that I and the other parent community really appreciate the school integrating technology and academics. I see compassion in the school community, and the parents are really committed to helping those less fortunate by doing regular charitable initiatives. But I also see that they're teaching the girls how to show compassion to themselves by maintaining a healthy work-life balance. And I really love that. And they introduce this in a multitude of ways. Wellness Wednesdays is one where they block out time for the girls to choose between yoga, run club, and the list goes on. And I love that aspect. And then lastly, I see SMLS introducing the value of courage, not only to take the road less traveled and to be bold, but I love how they encourage them to embrace their spirit of adventure. And I think I see this really through the incredible global studies program that SMLS offers. And I love that aspect.
Wonderful. Educating girls is certainly a tall order these days, but I love hearing the real lived experiences. I can say lots of things as head of admissions, but to hear it come from alum and parents within the community is pretty spectacular. And what would you say, I guess we'll start with you, Jennifer, what's the biggest impact that you think SMLS has had on your girls?
So I have 2 children at the school, as you know, and St. Mildred's has really helped make both of them equally confident leaders, I can say, even though by nature they tend to be more reserved. The teachers have really helped to challenge them, step outside of their comfort zones regularly, whether it be public speaking or trying out for a team sport that they don't have a lot of experience with, or auditioning for the school musical. In particular, my eldest is actually the more shy of the 2, and yet her music teacher convinced her to try out for the lead role in the school musical, which my husband and I could never have convinced her to do. But she did, and we were thrilled to watch her get up in front of all these people and sing and act. And because of this fantastic experience, she became more open to expanding her horizons after having such, a great initial experience. And it was just wonderful for us to see. So I would say that, building confidence and teaching my girls to be leaders and stepping outside of their comfort zones has really been the biggest impact I see on my girls.
Yeah. I remember that production. She's amazing. It was amazing at what could come out of this little body. I was amazed by what could come out of this little body.
Yeah.
And so surprised because, as you say, she can be a little bit shy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Leah, what about you? Lily's obviously only been here a couple weeks.
Sure.
But have you seen any significant impact as of yet, or?
I think there's more to come. I feel like I'm really hoping for everything that Jennifer just said to happen to Lily as well. But I'd say thus far in just these few weeks, I think the academic challenge is already apparent, which is great. I think it's really good for kids to be challenged. And so we're already seeing that. So that's probably our biggest impact so far. And watching her rise to the challenge, right? So she has not learned French up till now. And so she's got a big learning curve ahead of her to catch up to grade 4 with the rest of the girls, but she's taking it in stride. And I love seeing that enthusiasm in her to reach the level of the other girls and the supportive nature of the school. So she's not afraid, which is great.
Wonderful. Quick question, Jennifer, for you. As you researched schools, did you consider the difference between private and independent schools?
Sorry, it's glitching. Are you asking me, Sarah?
Yes. Yeah.
Hi. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. So for us, it was mostly important to find a school that was not for profit. We like the idea that the money would be put right various schools.
I don't know about anyone else, but did
That cut out for me.
Okay. Yeah, Jennifer, I think you cut out. Could you share that again?
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah, my keeps glitching here.
Uh-oh.
A school that was not for profit. We liked to put right back into running the school and benefit the kids ultimately. And that's what we were mostly concerned about when we looked at the schools. Did you hear that one?
I think so, yeah. Essentially, it sounds like you were looking for a not-for-profit institution. So that would be an independent school like SMLS, where any funds generated are being directly would be redirected and would be directly impacting your girls and the school for the better as you move ahead. Is that correct? So there is a little bit of a difference between between private and independent schools. That's okay. With private schools tending to be for-profit institutions, whereas independent schools are not for profit. So SMLS does fall into that independent school category. But one final question for each of you. Leah, too, we'll start with you. What do you feel were the advantages of the all-girl educational experience?
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, having now going to in a co-ed environment for the first time, I really, you know, look very fondly back on my SMLS experience. It just really allowed us to focus on our education and really also build just such close female friendships. I'm still really close to my good friends from St. Mildred's. So I really appreciate that. And also just, you know, I think especially in those high school years and all, you're really just learning about yourself and who you are. And I think just having other women who are going through the same things really helped, you know, make that transition easier and more comforting. So that's something I really appreciate. And now going into university and having more co-ed experiences, I know mostly who I am, and I feel more confident being able to express myself and voice my opinions.
Yeah, wonderful. What about Leah? What about you?
So I think that all girls education is really important because I think girls learn differently than boys, given, I don't know, my experience with my little boy and my little girl. Like they absorb information differently, and not being stereotypical. I'm sure there are exceptions to all rules, but being around females, learning in that same kind of environment is very impactful, I think, as you grow. And the freedom to try different things beyond the social confines that are created naturally in our world. I think that SMLS gives you that opportunity to really just try anything, because it's all on you, right? There's no boys to compete with or to think that this is a boy thing. And equally same for Henry at Lynbrook, right? That he can be free to try all kinds of things that would otherwise be maybe girl things at a co-ed school. So I think there are huge advantages there.
Yeah. For those of you that want to delve a little bit deeper into any of that information or research, on our website, we have a link to an organization called National Coalition of Girls Schools. And they do a series of, they've paired with some universities to do research into the outcomes for girls who have been in single gender environments. So it's nice to hear from people who have experienced it, and then also to look at the research that supports some of the comments that Leah have shared. I think we do have some time now for a few questions. I see there is a question here. I am new to the private schools. I have 2 little girls who are in SK and grade 1. Could you share the differences between SMLS and other private schools in the Midtown area? It's a bit of a challenge to answer that question, in that I'm guessing for both Leah and their experiences have been with St. Mildred's. I don't know if either of you did look at other schools in the Midtown area, and if you want to share why you chose SMLS, but I know that your lived experience probably has not included some of those Midtown schools.
Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't look at anything beyond the schools within Oakville.
Okay.
When my parents were looking, and then even when we were looking as well, we really focused on what Oakville options were.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
oh, sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's the same. I just had this one where my parents told me to go. Didn't really ask any questions, but I know they were looking for more of a smaller school. So I think that's one of the reasons they like SMLS.
Yeah, and Jennifer, were you able to join us again? I don't know if Jennifer had anything to add. Okay, I know she was having trouble with the connection, so we'll come back to her if she's been able to get back on. I see here, our daughter will be transitioning from a co-ed IB school in Kiev, Ukraine. She is currently in grade 8. Can I address 2 questions, please? 1, the issues around transitioning to all girls program, especially at that age. And 2, the shift to an non-IB program when she will have known through grade 9 is IB. Leah, do you want to maybe comment about what you saw as students transitioned into the school, and if you can remember any of the ways that the school helped to support, that's Leah too, maybe, helped to support new girls as they were coming in middle and senior school?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think that we've had a lot of girls coming in and international girls. So I think that coming into the school from a co-ed environment, as I think Jennifer said, you do have interactions with our brother schools with males. So I don't think that she would be missing out too much in that respect. Academics wise, the IB program, of course, is very rigorous, but I do also think that SMLS does provide a very intense and good education. So I don't think she would be missing anything from the IB program as well. And then just as a new student, I think if she's coming into grade 9, that's like the start of senior school, really. And so there was a lot of new girls coming in at that time, so she wouldn't be alone, or I think would be very easy. And it was a very good new girl program, so she'll definitely get integrated into the school.
Yeah, grade 9 is a logical transition point that between grade 8 and 9. So as Leah said, we do have a number of students who will start as new students in grade 9. It's a transition for the students that are here from our middle school program into our senior school environment. So everyone's doing a little bit of a transition at that stage. And we do have things in place to help support the new girls as they transition and help them kind of engage both socially and then also in terms of engaging in the programs and the breadth of opportunities here at the school. In terms of shifting from the non-IB program, or from an IB program into a non-IB program, I think you know, some of the hallmarks of the IB piece through the middle years is an inquiry-based approach to learning, and certainly that is embraced in an environment that provides, you know, really great instruction these days. And so you will see that infused into our curriculum throughout. You don't just have to be an IB school to follow inquiry-based approaches and things like that. So again, it is a rigorous academic environment, as Leah mentioned. And, you know, the other piece that I think is a benefit, in fact, of a non-IB environment is that girls have a bit more flexibility, or students have more flexibility in choosing their courses and in their course options than they sometimes do within the IB diploma years piece. So we actually like that we are not an IB school. We do have the AP courses at the senior level for some additional academic rigor for students who are looking at competitive university programs and especially programs in the States. But within the Ontario ministry programming, there is more flexibility. And so we actually like that's the case. I have a little sister in grade 8. She originally attended an American international school back in Shanghai. Just wondering if it's still possible to transfer into grade 8 in January of 2021. I understand the difficulty of this process as grade 8 is the last grade in the elementary school. I would recommend perhaps that you send us a note at admissions@smls.on.ca, and we can, talk a little bit about your sister, what her background is, and we could perhaps look at whether there is opportunity in January or not. It's a little bit more nuanced when you look at mid-year admits and things like that. And then I see another question. I'd like to know what the class size is from grade 9 and 10. So I'll answer that question for where we are right now. And then Leah, maybe you can talk to your experience as you moved through some of your high school courses. Presently, we have committed for our families to cohorts of about 15. So throughout the school, we have maintained those cohorts at as I say, a student head count of about 15. And we've also looked at our spaces. So we've looked at not just a number, but also what our physical spaces allow for, to ensure that students can maintain their social distance during the school day and as we're navigating these strange times. So that's what we have committed to at the moment. And then under normal circumstances, Leah can talk a little bit about what her experience has been as she went through her high school years.
Yeah, so in high school, I think we graduated with 22 or 26 girls. I can't remember, but it was very small.
You had a smaller year. I'm not sure why. Yeah.
Yeah, we did have a small year. And so generally, I think the grades are quite small, but I think that that's actually an advantage because you really get close with the girls in your grade, and you're able to interact with them and with the teachers on a more one-to-one basis. In grade 9 and 10 specifically, yeah, I think we didn't really, maybe it was 30 in grade 9, but very small. But then, as you continue to go into grade 10 and such, you get to choose some more electives. And so you got to interact with some other girls in your grade that might not have been in your specific class, which was good.
Yeah, so typically we would say that our preference would be, I would say 16 to 20 in a class. Sometimes things get challenging in senior school where students are choosing electives and so we might push a class to 22, but that doesn't happen very often. We also want to make sure that girls have as many options and opportunities as possible. So, we've also run quite small classes with, 4 or 5 students so that students do have those opportunities to pick up different elective courses that are of interest to them as they navigate the years. I see a question about how many of your graduates yearly go off to US universities, and could Leah speak to her experience with applying to US schools from Canada? I'll quickly talk to the number piece, and then Leah, you can talk to your experience. We have a small number that go off each year to US schools. What I have found in my couple of years here, I also found it when I was working at some of the other independent schools, case independent schools, was that we had quite a number who would apply and be admitted to US schools. And then ultimately, families would make decisions that felt right for them. When the Canadian dollar is strong, we sometimes see more of an interest in US schools. I've also seen a shift where families have said, yeah, my daughters were, admitted to US schools, but, we have confidence in Canadian undergraduate programs and think we'll invest in maybe that US experience as a graduate level program. So, certainly we do have students each year who go to US schools. We also have students who will go to schools in the UK and other international and sometimes niche programs. And Leah can speak to that experience of applying and the support that you had in terms of that process. Over to you, Leah.
Yes, so we have a program called Grad Seminar. So in your last year, it's like a class, and basically it's very small. I think there were 7 in mine, and you have a class with the not university counselor, sorry, to really just hone in your applications, figure out what you're trying to do with your life, and make sure your applications go through and are good. And so I think that was really great. In my grad seminar specifically, we had, I think, 3 girls who were applying to the United States. And so, you know, of course, that process is definitely more intense. There's more to it than the Ontario schools. And so we really had that one-on-one time. Miss Moreno read over our essays like a million times to make sure that they were good. Really helped us walk through the common application. So it was very helpful. And I really appreciate it because, of course, I didn't really know what I was doing. And then, of course, SMS also does offer the AP courses, which I was able to take. I was able to pick another one up after I realized I didn't have enough. And so really, they were really helping me, accommodating and making sure that I would be able to meet the requirements for the state schools. So it was a really good experience. I was not worried. They really helped me walk me through it. And ultimately, I ended up going. So it was a great experience.
And there's a question now, what percentage of students got scholarships in 2019? I don't have that data in front of me. I know that 100% of our students are admitted to top tier universities and colleges aligned with their passions. Many students are encouraged to apply for, and many will receive significant scholarships. Leah, do you remember, did you go through any of the scholarship application process? How were you and your classmates encouraged in that regard? Oh, I think you're muted. Just a second, let me.
Sorry. Yeah, so we did go through a lot of the scholarship applications. I know I specifically applied for the Lorraine scholarship, and I know a lot of girls applied for the Chancellor Scholarship and TD. I know one girl in my grade did end up getting the Chancellor Scholarship for Queen's University, which was fantastic. I think, you know, a lot of these scholarships are, you know, you just apply and then one person from your school gets it. So I know there was a lot of girls applying, and then, but, you know, still our university counselor helped us with those letters and those applications. And I think that we had a very big scholarship year. I think one of my friends got the TD scholarship. And so Miss Moreno, the university counselor, really does help you get the scholarships you need, helps you research them, and even like the smaller ones, they really do add up to a lot of money if you're applying for them. So really helping find those niche ones and the different ones to make sure that you get the help or money you need.
Yeah, and I think that that is one of the things that our university counselor does encourage the girls to do, is to consider applying for those scholarships and making them aware of it. So it's, you know, it is important to us that the girls are recognized for their talents, their strengths, their commitment to their education. And so one way of helping them and encouraging them is to look at what scholarships they might be able to consider. So it's certainly a part of the process in terms of that university application process, that grad seminar that all of the girls will do in their grade 12 year. And in fact, our university counselor begins working with the girls when they're in middle school, not to, you know, increase anxiety or get them starting to worry about the university application process, but more in terms at that stage of getting to know themselves and beginning to understand what are some of my passions and skills. And then it's a process then as they navigate towards that graduation and ultimately selecting the university that's right for them. And there is a question, I think this will be the final question that we can probably get to, but will this recording be available to share with my daughter who is not able to attend today? That's a great question. And this is actually hosted by Our Kids because it's part of the Our Kids admissions pathway. I think it's a question you may need to ask of Our Kids directly if they can share access to the recording. Yeah. So I'd like to thank everyone for joining us. In particular, I'd like to thank our panelists, Leah, and Jennifer, for giving their time this morning and in preparing for today's event. Each of you has such a unique SMLS experience, and I really thank you for sharing it with all of us today. It was such a pleasure for me, and I'm so appreciative of your time. And for those of you joining us through the Our Kids admissions pathway, I encourage you to consider booking a discovery call with my colleague, Mrs. Cossett. She's here today. She's been relatively quiet, but she is tremendously knowledgeable about the school, and she's always happy to share her enthusiasm with anyone interested in chatting further. So another piece you can consider is please visit our website, smls.on.ca, to learn more about the school and to register for our upcoming open houses. And I should mention that we have a fall application deadline that is approaching. That deadline is October 31st, and we do encourage families to apply early. So thank you again. Thank you for coming to learn more about SMLS, and have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Sarah.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.